Hi everyone, welcome to your 8th of August full moon energy reading today. I am Varin Gill and this is my channel Sacred Journey with Varin. I am so excited to have you here. If there's anything you like about the content today, please remember to like or subscribe and give me your comments. I love comments, I read all of them, and I would love to help you if you have any questions regarding today's video. Now, we are here to talk about the full moon, 8th of August, happening tomorrow in the sign of Capricorn, specifically the nakshatra of Uttarashad. And this is a Vedic astrology forecast. It is not a tropical astrology forecast, so please make sure you have your Vedic astrology ascendants for the ascendant-based energy reading that is coming up, right? You can use any free tool. I will link a free tool in the comment below to find out your Vedic/sidereal astrology ascendant sign, moon sign, or sun sign. 3 of these signs tend to be the ones that influences the most, but the moon sign, because the moon is constantly changing, it does have a deeper effect on our mind. The moon is a representation of our mind, okay? So if you've been having any physical symptoms to do with this moon, like I didn't sleep very well last night, but I feel very energetic today. So I am actually very much in tune with this full moon, and many people tend to have these physical symptoms when there are any moons, some less, some more. It is purely because we are a subtle version of the external transits, the external planets, the external energies around us, and we are co-creating with that. So we're not a victim of that energy. We are meant to absorb that energy for our own growth. So maybe less complaining and more accountability for the fact that we're actually part of that. If collectively we shift, that shifts too. So let's think about any of these physical symptoms in as positive a way as possible by keeping aware, keeping a note of what's happening, and learning from them about ourselves as much as we can. Okay, so to set the stage for our full moon at the moment, the moon is in Capricorn, and directly opposite the moon we have a Mercury retrograde happening in the sign of Cancer, and the sun is currently in Cancer as well. The sun will be in Cancer sign until the 16th of August, where it moves into the sign of Leo. So right now, with that kind of opposition happening, this full moon is bringing things up from the past that need to be looked at again. And this will be happening to you regardless of which sign you're at. But because it's a Mercury retrograde as well, any decisions we make during this time are likely to have to be seen again at a later time. So just be aware of how this might be impacting your current week into the weekend. There are some things that are not clear yet, and they will remain unclear, but this full moon will give us some insight into why we don't have that clarity yet. Okay, the other tension that we've got is that Saturn and Mars are in direct opposition to each other. And when this happens, it's a bit of a squeeze that's happening to us. It's a bit of a energetic squeeze where we're being asked to be, really energetic about something, and yet we're getting the opposite pressure to stop and slow down. So this can feel very tense, and some people might see this as a feeling of anxiety, but it will shift. Mars will be moving away from this sign in about 2-3 weeks, and you'll feel a lot better, but it will continue through these weeks. And why this tension tends to happen is only when tension exists do we actually shift. Tension is a very important part of alchemy and purification of the self. So avoid resisting tension. Become aware of tension and know that it's trying to teach you something. It's not trying to upset you in any way. Okay? Then we do have a positive effect of Venus and Jupiter in Gemini right now. They are almost conjunct. This is very beneficial financially, from a resource point of view, from a beauty point of view, from a sexual point of view as well for some of us. You might feel heightened with regards to your creative selves as well. So watch this. This will probably start to play a larger impact as it becomes a much closer conjunction after the Mercury retrograde. Mercury will be going direct next week, the 11th of August. So after that, this Venus and Jupiter conjunction, which is also known as a Lakshmi Narayan conjunction, it will have a much better impact on us next week. So coming back to the full moon, well, if your ascendant is in Aries, if your first house is Aries, then this full moon is happening in the 10th house, which is the house of our career. So there may be some insights with regards to your career that you're starting to see right now. They won't be very clear just yet, but you are starting to get a feel of what maybe you haven't seen before prior to Mercury going retrograde. So be aware and think wisely. Think about what would be the ideal situation for you in the long term as opposed to in the short term. And if it means not making a decision for the next 2-3 weeks about some aspect of your career, that would probably be best right now. Okay? If your ascendant is Taurus, then this full moon is happening in your 9th house. The 9th house is the house of higher learnings, the house of the father, is the house of higher travels. And with the impact of a Mercury retrograde on it, maybe you're actually looking at some stuff that you've learned before that you need to review again. Maybe there's some travel that has come up that you did not expect. But this will be long distance travel if it does come up. And a full moon in the 9th house is powerful for spiritual insights. So do pay attention if any have been coming up for you over the last week. This house is the house of Dharma. Dharma is not life purpose. Dharma is the ethics of the universe. And if each one of us actually played a part with our life purpose, if we followed our aligned energy and we lived accordance to the ethics of the universe, you will feel the universe is supporting you because you are walking hand in hand with it. But when we're out of ethics, which let's not get into that, then you will feel the impact of a universe that's working against you. So you will get such insights this week. And if you have any questions about it, do let me know. Because we also have that Mars and Saturn push and pull, so there could be some very strong insights. Okay. Now, if your ascendant is Gemini, then this full moon is happening in your 8th house. That's a house that is very, very powerful. For me, the 8th house is my favorite house because if you're like me and you like powerful learnings which come from life experiences, that is the house that will give it to you. Most astrologers do not do deep forecasts, accurate forecasts, because the 8th house doesn't allow for accurate forecasts. The 8th house is that element of surprise that is very difficult to examine in anyone's birth chart. It is almost like saying God exists, right? And he does exist. There are elements that we are not meant to control in our life. So this house is one of the 3 moksha houses, and if your full moon is landing in this house, you may feel some connection with your ancestors coming up during this time, building up over the last few days. You may feel a deep connection to your sexual self, a deep connection to your tantric self. This is a house that gives that occult wisdom to someone as well, and occult wisdom has no depth. It is bottomless, it is timeless. So you may have done some workshops, you felt like you wanted to sign up for something, as this full moon has reached its peak. So if your ascendant is the sign of Cancer, that's where the Mercury retrograde is happening. So, and the Sun is also in Cancer. So with these two planets in the sign of Cancer and the full moon happening in your 7th house, you may be getting or having to look at aspects of relationships, whether business or romantic relationships, that have been coming up in the last week that you just cannot ignore anymore. Deal with them. Because it's a Mercury retrograde, it may give you some aspect, something that you haven't looked at. If you learn to reflect deeply, the Sun in your 1st house as well, it's putting you in a position where you're in the limelight, you're being seen for whatever it is that you're having to look at during this time. So be kind to yourself as much as you can and enjoy the transit. I love all planetary lessons because I learn so much from any change, any energy forecast. I really feel it in my body. And do not despair if times are hard, things will shift, but look at what you're being asked to look at very, very clearly in the face. Okay? If your ascendant is Leo, then this full moon is happening in your 6th house. Now the 6th house is the house of debts, disease, enemies. And please do not panic when you hear the term enemies, right? Enemy in this context just means someone who could even be your competitor. And my goodness, on social media we have so many competitors. So it is someone who can manage this house effectively is a very wealthy person. Okay, so the full moon happening in your 6th house is probably bringing up, with the Mercury retrograde around as well, it is bringing up aspects from the past to do with work, to do with health, and anything you may have overlooked with regards to people from the past that you now need to look at again, right? Whether it's work-based, whether it's to do with, even a book you're writing that is based on someone else. There will be new things that come up that you need to almost close off during this time. So listen to the calling of the full moon in your 6th house. It can feel quite emotional because we really cannot, these things are kind of out of our control. But if your inner self is strong, if your inner self, you've been working on your inner self, and that's why we have to continuously work on our inner self, because things happen to everyone's 6th house regularly. That inner stability is what will carry us through any shifts when it comes to our financials, any shifts when it comes to our health as well. Our bad habits come out very strongly when we're unwell. All those dependencies and anxieties, they come out very strongly when we're unhealthy. I can see that in my parents. Any aspect of themselves that they've not managed to control when they were younger, it becomes so big as aging comes and as we get sick, if we get sick. So do a regular practice of breath work during this retrograde to help you through this transit. That's for my Leos. If your ascendant is in Virgo, Mars is currently in your ascendant as well, and this Mercury retrograde is happening in the sign of Capricorn in your 5th house. This could mean a creative opening somewhere for you. You may feel the need to do some spiritual creative work. There may be a talent of yours that has come to be looked at by you, to be used by you during this time that you may have ignored before. So it's a nice feeling. But with Mars in your 1st house, you may be giving it too much pressure instead of maybe enjoying what is coming up. So have a look at what's happening in your 5th house there with the full moon this week. Talents are aspects of ourselves that are so under-recognized in today's world. We're so caught up with doing, and talent needs us to just be for it to be honed. So if you are reconnecting with a talent in yourself, and a talent could be as simple as being able to make someone laugh. Doesn't have to be a comedian level, but just being able to make someone laugh. This will make you feel good. Forget about other people, it'll make you feel good. And this full moon is moving you in that direction. Okay? Now, if your ascendant is Libra, that means this full moon is happening in your 4th house. You may have to be reckoning with issues to do with your mom, both positive and negative. There just could be things coming up to do with your mom's family, to do with property, to do with any vehicles, to do with your business even. The 4th house is also a moksha house, but it does relate to certain businesses, especially clothing businesses. You'll be surprised. And if you feel connected to any of these aspects of your house that have been coming up, just feel into any spiritual practice that you are used to, right? Because it's a 4th house, it's a moksha house. Just feel into any breath work or anything at all that allows you to slow down, to see these issues in a new light. They are forcing you to raise your vibration if anything is difficult during this time. So you got it. You can handle it. It should feel better after Mercury goes direct. If your ascendant is Scorpio, I love Scorpios. I just want to say I love Scorpios. I think, especially Vedic Astrology Scorpios, these are the real hardcore Scorpios. A Scorpio is a sign that just says it like no one else says it, the hardcore truth. And they make fantastic comedians, they make fantastic storytellers because they just say things as it is. So I love people who do not dress up the truth. I love you, Scorpio. So if your ascendant is Scorpio, the full moon is happening in your 3rd house. This will probably feel like a time for you to step out of your comfort zone, maybe take a little short trip, maybe push yourself a little bit, step into that courageous form of you and try something new that you like, something fun with some friends. You may have already done that this week, and you may have already felt the benefits of that. It should definitely relax you, with a full moon being a watery aspect as well, and with Scorpio having a huge watery aspect as part of this sign. You will definitely feel the emotional impacts of these moons. Scorpios are blessed with the ability to be water signs, but because they are so matter of fact with their ability to speak that as well, unless you have other aspects of your chart that are affecting that, they can make really good business people too. Okay, if your ascendant is Sagittarius, you are currently being impacted by the Venus and Jupiter conjunction directly, which is a nice impact to have, and this should give you a better result after Mercury goes direct on the 11th of August. But this full moon is happening in your 2nd house, so unless there are any other malefic planets impacting your 2nd house at the moment, this should give you some financial gain in this time, and it should also give you some family insights, any one of these aspects, as well as maybe indulging in a new cuisine or something you've never tried before that really gives you some sensory upgrades. So I hope that is what you are experiencing during this time. That sounds wonderful. If your ascendant is Capricorn, then this full moon is happening in your house, your 1st house. So you're definitely going to feel the impact of this full moon, any physical impact, any direct impact to you. You're probably feeling quite empowered during this time. maybe the Mercury retrograde and the Sun, which is directly opposite you, impacting you right now, may be forcing you to see something from the past in a new light, in as much positive light as possible. There's a grandeur to this full moon for you. Keep yourself grounded and revisit whatever it is that you're being asked to revisit as a result of this Mercury retrograde. Maybe you're being asked to start something new. Leave the big decision until Mercury goes direct next week. Okay? If your ascendant is Aquarius, this full moon is happening in your 12th house. If it's happening in your 12th house, a Capricorn full moon in your 12th house is giving you some push towards stabilizing your spiritual self. It's asking you to look at another aspect of yourself that maybe you have been ignoring. Because Aquarians are, I love Aquarians as well. I mean, I love all signs, but Aquarians are revolutionary beings. They have the insight of creating value out of things we've never seen before. So, and Aquarius signs can be quite generally quite wealthy, depending on other aspects of their chart, of course. And if your full moon is happening in your 12th house, it's also another moksha house. It is even pulling you possibly in towards just being on your own during this time. It can feel quite taxing, everything that's happening in the world. So you might be inclined to just be on your own through this weekend. And that would be wonderful, not just for you, for anyone who feels like they need to replenish their energy. Use it wisely. And finally, if your ascendant is Pisces, this full moon is happening in your 11th house. So maybe closer to the full moon, you might experience a financial gain because this full moon is happening in your house of gains. You may have a new network, you may discover a wider network during this time, or you may feel the calling for higher learning as well during this time. With it being a Mercury retrograde, if there are aspects of, things that you've tried to do in the past to do with making money or building relationships, if people to do with this come back into your life during this time, maybe it's time to end those cycles and start something new after Mercury goes direct. Okay, so I hope that was helpful to all of you with the 12 signs. I certainly enjoyed doing that reading. I'm still disappointed that the live didn't happen, but hey, you still have some information there that could be helpful to you. Have a lovely day, everyone. If you enjoyed that content, please remember to like and subscribe below. I hope to put more content like this out there, and I hope to have a live that goes well. If you are looking for workshops, meditations, I do them from time to time, so you can find them at my link below. You can check out my website as well, and follow me on Instagram if that calls to you. Have a lovely day once again. Bye for now.